Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about the University of Idaho murders, and I want to start with a theory I haven't really dived into, and that is a random stalker murderer. So, like a random person that is not on the radar for any of us that just did this murder. So, I don't know. I think when there's like so many people of interest, it's hard to think of a random person doing this. But I think what we have to remember is how when a murder takes place or something crazy happens, like a kidnapping, everyone always thinks of the obvious scenarios and the people that were a little shady around them. But in everyday life, how many shady people do you have in your life that, like, if you ended up disappearing, they would be blamed for your disappearance? And I think we all have at least one shady thing going on in our life right now. Like, it could be you have like a crazy uncle and you just saw him at Christmas and maybe you had an argument. So then if you disappeared and went missing or got murdered, everyone would say, oh my gosh, she had that crazy uncle. So what if that's going on right now with this case? Like, we all had that ex-boyfriend that didn't take the breakup well. We all have that creepy neighbor. We all have the guy at the bar we told too much to. And so, because there were these murders, we're all focusing on these people. Whereas if there was no murders, it would be a normal day for any of us to have people like this in our lives. So that's why it's interesting to think, like, what if it's not the ex-boyfriend? What if it's not the creepy neighbor? What if there's a guy out there who has been watching this house for years, who has been wishing to be a part of those people's lives for years, and nobody knew? And he would go to their parties and watch them from afar, or he would hear about their parties, or he would stalk their social media, and he would dream about dating one of the girls. He would dream about being Ethan's friend. He wanted to be a part of that group. And maybe he's a heavy drinker, this guy, and he just like drank too much. Maybe he was at the corner bar and he saw them there and they didn't even look at him, and that was what like put him in this mindset that he was gonna do something crazy. Because we have those people in the world that are just crazy, and they're like the school shooters, they're the active shooters, they're the people that want to kill a bunch of people for attention, and they're crazy. They're basically self-absorbed too, because like you only think of yourself and your own feelings. So this guy, he could be a student at the University of Idaho. He could have been watching their lives from afar, hearing about their lives. Maybe he is like a friend of a friend, and his friend is always going to their parties, and he's always like, oh, well, what happened at this party? Oh, is that one girl still with that one guy? Is the Kaylee girl still single? Is Maddie still living there? Like, he knows their names. He hears about their lives. And he's interested, but he's like a loner. And he just drank too much one night. He snapped. Of course, he could be on drugs. Like, a lot of people don't sleep when they're on drugs, and they get delusional. And that night, he might have saw them out and saw them head home, and maybe he was getting ready to go home himself. And he thought, I'm just gonna like drive by their house and see like what's going on. And maybe he remembered hearing they always leave their back door unlocked, and he just thought, maybe I'll go in there and see what's going on. Maybe he had a knife with him, and it just like turned into this massacre that he wasn't necessarily planning. Or he could have been planning it for months and months. I don't know, like, it's not something I think happened, but it's something that we shouldn't forget that it could happen. But I feel like if it's a random person, that it would be a student. I feel like it would be someone around their age. I don't really feel like it would be like an older person, because from what I hear, mainly students live in that area. So I don't see how like an older person would really know about these people, unless it's like someone that frequents the bars they go to. But I feel like if it was a random person, it would be like a young person. And maybe he might have taken his shoes off when he left and put them in a bag or something. Like, that's the thing I don't get, is the blood. Like, has anyone ever really seen them looking for footprints in the front yard, like the front area near the front door? Like, looking for blood and footprints. They always were kind of in the back, like the guy left in the back. So maybe he left out the back and he came in out the back. Or he came in the back way because he heard they left the door unlocked. And he left in the back as well. And that's why there's no like blood and footprints in the front. And then maybe he parked up there behind the apartments that is behind the house. So that could be. But I don't know. I think of people that are doing things at random. I don't feel like somebody that was in college would be like throwing away their whole lives for something like this. But of course, we just can't dismiss the fact it could be totally random and that none of the victims even know this person that did this, which makes it even more important to like lock your doors. Even if you don't have any enemies, you might have enemies and you just don't know it because they're watching you from afar. They know your routine. They're hearing about your life through someone in your circle who doesn't even know that this person is interested in your life. And that might be what happened with these murders. I mean, looking at their social media, it's like you really could follow their lives just by watching them on Instagram. And if you had a crush on one of these girls, you know, you got access to all these photos and you know who they are dating, you know when they're single. And, you know, a lot of times people will say when they're going out to a club and where they're going, or they'll be tagged at the club. So, I don't know. It could be a random stalker, murderer, for all we know. But I personally do not believe in this theory. I still somewhat believe the ex-boyfriend has something to do with it. And I'm going to do another video about that because I had some more thoughts on that. But thanks for watching.
You told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.